Buy, deliver with the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester, Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasin, the Racin.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin the Racin, episode 82. And we're delighted to be joined by Danny Webb, and the man that has literally done every single category of racing that the pretty much is, from MotoGP, BSB, World Superbikes, road racing, Isle of Man, Macau, literally everything.
He literally looks more shocked than us. He just sat back there and just went, what?
Usually we'll get somebody that's like BSB, or we'll get someone that does roads and maybe a bit of BSB or things, but you have literally done like every category, from like 2-stroke, 4-stroke, like literally everything. So I'm really looking forward to this, and we'll have a good big catch up. But obviously it's the middle of December when we're recording this, and have you been up to much like the last couple of weeks?
Nothing. No, obviously we had lockdown, didn't we, again? So it was boring through that. And then I managed to rent Leicester Speedway out Monday, so we got out and had a day out on the flat track bikes, and then was meant to be out today, but I'm glad we ain't, because it's pissing it down.
Are you a fair weather rider then? Yeah. A bit of a soft shite, is that your problem? There you go. Oh, grand. So hold on.
I really want to get into the flat track. Is that something you've done for a while for training?
I've done it. I bought it for, when did I buy it? Probably 2 years ago, and I was just going to use it for some training. Well, I bought his motocross bike and converted it, and I said to my brother-in-law that he can do the nationals on it if he wants to, because he'd stopped doing BSB 125s and Moto 3, and he'd had like a year out, and I said, well, if he wants to do some racing, he can use my bike. So that was kind of how we done it.
Is that for motocross or flat tracking?
Flat tracking.
All right.
Yeah. Right. So now he's got his own bike. Now we get out together and have a blast. But people have stopped inviting us to like private track day hires, because we go out and like first 5 minutes we've crashed like 4 or 5 times. So they've stopped inviting us. Have
you ever been over to Rossi's ranch, or like have you done flat track with it, like Marquez or anything?
That's what he's preparing for. The invite is like Valentino's like, I must invite Danny.
A lot of the MotoGP lot and like sort of World Superbikes, they train over in Rocco's ranch, and especially MotoGP riders, they all do the flat track. So when you go over there, do you see many of the MotoGP lads?
Yeah, I've done Rocco's once, and then there's a little track down near Valencia way, and I've done that. But when I literally done that, I'd not rode a flat track bike before, and honestly it looked like I never rode a bike before. Yeah. And I took a little kid out as well, and the first thing I'd done was pick my own bike up and try and start it.
You look like a kid yourself. Do you reckon the other kid went, another, like when his parents went, some kids knocked me off?
It was only 3.
Right, that is a proper thing.
Is it a totally different like the skill to ride is totally different?
Yeah, it is, but when you get into it, it's not too bad. Like over here it's all right, because you just do the overalls, and you have no front brakes, so you just got to, I mean, Boasty's been on the show.
Yes,
I. And you just have no front brake. That's the only thing you've really got to get used to, and just putting the bike down instead of kind of hanging off it. But it's good fun. It's good fun.
It's fun, but how like physical is it, if you know what I mean? When you think motocross, when I went motocross and I was as useless as Superman's cape, I just hung off the back of the thing and just went for the ride. But how much fitness does it take to be that level?
It's not like motocross, but it's quite intense. Like if you do 5-10 minutes out on the track, it's quite intense, and you do get quite tired, but because you're always moving around on the bike, and where it's always moving, like in the middle of the corner you've got to push the bike down, but on the exit of the corner you kind of need to get it on the fat part of the tyre, so you're always moving around.
Because we never went on the big one, because you've done Boasty's flat track, haven't you?
Yeah.
Have you been up there?
No, I've not been up to Boasty's, no.
Because it's such a short plate, that was intense, if you know what I mean. I remember it was but that was left and right, and you're blowing out your bagpipe, but a big track almost seems more flowing.
Do you know, if I was to convert my 450 into a flat track, is there anywhere, I know you can do the sort of speedway tracks, the ovals, but is there any TT tracks anywhere in the sort of north of England?
Not so much I know Greenfields have a bit of a TT track, but they only put it on now and again for the like national flat track test days and things like that, and their race, but not so much. The only one I know is Boasty's really, but that's too little for a big bike.
Mm-hmm. Now hold on, right? What's great about me, Danny, is I'm a total simpleton. So there'll be other people who aren't really following it that closely. First of all, what the hell's Rocco's Ranch?
It's basically Kenny Roberts' old flat track thing, and like Kenny Roberts had a
where's this base in the world?
Barcelona, right outside the circuit of Barcelona.
All right.
It's basically stone throw away from there, it's massive. They've got like a big oval, then they've got like a TT bit in the middle.
That was my next question. So is this like different levels of tracks? Is it in in flat track? Is it different classes and different tracks? So a TT track, what is that?
Left and right.
Yeah, left and right. Yeah.
So that's like a generic term for flat tracking. So if you're doing a TT championship, this is throwing me off.
Yeah, it's kind of like left and right, but you need a front brake for that as well, really.
All right.
Yeah.
So what tracks are there in flat track? So you've got oval and TT, is that it?
Yeah.
All right, that was a short conversation.
But like in America, you have like the short tracks, then the half miles, then the miles, and the miles are flipping. Honestly, they are incredible. They used to have it when we used to race at Indianapolis. They used to have the Indy Mile there, and to go and see the Harleys in that, 130 mile an hour and just flipping, banging it into a left-hand corner, it is insane. And until you've been and seen one, you watch it on TV and you go, no, it don't look that fast, but flipping hell, when you go and see it, you're like, them boys have got massive bollocks. And if they crash, all they've got is a wall. And it's incredible. But my old teammate was doing one, and I said, I want you to come into that left-hander and just take a tear off. And I thought, he won't. You can't do it. And he just come in and went like that. And I was like, you flash bastard. Proper look cool. Like.
You tried it, and just boof, there goes the front.
I tried it. I got my roller, so I tried it, and down I go.
Who was that American lad who came over? He rode for Everquip. British Supersport.
Rispoli.
Yeah,
Is it Rispoli?
Yeah, he's good at it, yeah.
Has he gone back to that now?
Yeah.
So it just showed that, because when we spoke to Bosie about it back in the day when he went over, he was saying there was mega money. Do you think there's still mega money in it now?
I think you can make a living out of it, can't you?
Really?
Yeah, I think it's getting better now. There was a stage, like any sport, there was a stage it dipped down quite a bit, but now it's on the way back up. You got Indian, Harley, I think Royal Enfield now, and all that lot are making bikes for it. So I think it's getting there.
Interesting then. So is that? I think we've just discovered that haven't even discussed what he's done up to this point in his career and what he's going to be doing next year. But I think we've discovered what he's going to be doing at the back end of it all. Do you think you'll go into that then?
I'm not good enough for that.
Not yet, though. Not yet.
I'm not good enough.
Work in progress.
Yeah.
But anyway, obviously we'll get on to your career and.
Where do you want to start?
When I first started seeing where your name and when you were in Grand Prix and stuff, I kind of know your history from the Grand Prix days, the 125 days. But just briefly, obviously you don't just wake up and suddenly go into British Grand Prix. There has to be either mini bikes or metro kits or whatever. What was the early your introduction to racing, and how did you get to Grand Prix? It
was I'd done motocross to begin with, and I was I think I was probably a bit like you at motocross. I was quite quick, but I had a zero control.
You were nothing like me. I had no talent, not quick, and I had no talent whatsoever.
I had zero control over everything, and Tommy Sell we used to go to the same meetings, and we was quite good friends as well.
Sorry, next question. Who's Tommy Sale?
He's he's won I think 2-3 British championships, and he done a lot of years in GPs and went over to America and raced motocross and supercross over there.
Right, so that's a good mate to have then.
Yes, if you closed your eyes, you two sound exactly the same. Your accents are
I think about me and him. He's like, all right, guys.
He's literally 20 minutes up the road now.
Is he?
So yeah, it's weird, but we was quite good mates when we was kind of growing up. But then when the foot and mouth come to the UK,
another pandemic.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a serious situation, this. So we decided, my dad's mate, he took his son to do mini motor racing. He was like, why don't you come and have a go? You can just rent the bikes out for the day. So we went up and had a go, and I liked it, and I was quite quick. So
what age was this then? So you've gone from schoolboy motocross.
From when I was 6 to 10, we was doing motocross.
Aye. And
then we decided to have a go at this, and Dad went, well, would you prefer to do this? And me and my brother was like, yeah, all right then.
So it was actually foot and mouth that
yeah, otherwise we'd have carried on doing motocross.
Isn't that insane when you think of the career that you've had, and it was all sort of pivotal. The pivotal point of it was something totally out of your control, and it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but my dad he'd done road racing and sidecars before, so he was kind of into the road race side of things.
What did your dad get up to then? What achievements did he get to? Oh no, like you know what I mean. What did he do? Club? Did he do British or?
No, he done mainly club racing, but he won the Marlborough Sidecar Championship.
Right. Passengering or driving?
Passengering.
All right.
And they were
so he's an insane man then.
Yeah, but if you look at the Exact World, there was an old bike built in the 80s called the Exact World, and they had a TZ 250 and 350 engine in them, and they were insane engineers, and they went and actually beat the likes of Yamaha in the European Championship. Well, my dad rode the bike the year before they went to the Europeans and won that championship with Kenny Noy, I think. Kenny Noel. Nice. I forgot his name, but my dad rode it in 81, and then he done sidecars and bits and bobs, but he always done a little bit of sidecars and solo racing and just kind of whatever he enjoyed.
So you had that sort of the eye later on in your career that you could possibly follow that.
Yeah, and my dad was obviously a bit of a character. So when we done mini bikes, and then when we went, there was no in between. There was like mini motos and then super teens. So I went from mini motos and I went to Darley Moor to do my ACU license, and they was like, "You can't ride." I was like, "Why? You're too little."
I've seen a picture of you on a
I
super
was like
bike.
ridiculously small, and what's his name? Mick Boddice turned around and said, "Well, let's give him a go because we give Tommy Bridewell a go." So they give me the milk crate they used with Tommy Bridewell. So
this is the family crate, so not
just so I could pull away. Anyway,
by the way, for our YouTube listeners, he's sitting on yellow pages right now, so that just shows us.
And then then I passed my ACE license, and that took us into to like the Bemsey and MRO Super Team Championship, and that's when I realised my dad was obviously a bit of a character because everyone remembered him from like 20 years before. So
really?
It was
I remember your old man with when you were in BSB, and he's like a proper southerner with the flat cap and that. And he like a geezer. You would describe him as a geezer, your old man.
Let's hear a few tales about your dad. You glazed over there. I heard he was a bit of a character. What did he used to get up to?
They just used to like. Obviously, him and my mum just used to go away racing, and he used to have the mates, and they, you know, how it used to be back in the day, get pissed up and run around, like bet each other, running around the track naked and things like that. I think one of the stories was they run around the track naked, and my mum and that hid all their clothes, so they come back.
Get in.
But
that's what it's about, man.
But I remember there was one story. He was driving a sidecar at Liddon Hill, and they got to the grid, and his mate went, "Jim, what would I say if we said?" My dad turned around and said, "What did you say if we said we got no brakes?" Dad went, "Well, let's just do a lap and pull in." Well, he didn't. He done the full race just behind the leader, just flipping, just holding him up. He was just, every time he come to a break, he was right behind the leader, so he didn't have to use the brakes. Come in and finish second. And
good lad.
My dad's best mate, who was passenger, and went, "I can't believe you've just done that."
Good
he was
man.
Absolutely bricking himself. But...
So what was he like? Now, we mention this on every guest we have on, and I think all our listeners would be pretty much bored of us asking this question, but was your dad a bit of a motocross dad, or was he like totally laid back?
No, he's so laid back. I mean, sometimes he got a bit frustrated with me, but that was because it was kind of my own fault. Like, we went to Silverstone and I crashed like 3 times in one day. And in the end, he was like, "Fix the bloody bike yourself." Like, but
I think any parent would be like that. Yeah.
He never pushed me to like get results or anything like that. He always just tap me on the back and say, "Go and blow its fucking brains out." That's all he used to say, and that was it. That was all the advice he gave me.
Mint.
But he never put any pressure on me to go and get results or anything. It was just kind of, we always went away racing to enjoy it as a family, and that was it. Just led into a career. Never looked at it as doing it as a career. We just went there for fun and to keep us out of trouble, I suppose.
So were you living whereabouts? Where are you from with that accent then?
Kent, Tunbridge Wells in Kent, so about 25 minutes from Brands.
Oh, there we go. Nice and local then. Nice and local.
Not far.
So here we go. Go on.
I'm a northerner now. So.
No, you're not. So, this is not North. This is not, son. This is not North. Do not mention his crappy. Sorry, do not mention that. But I was about to throw it out the window there, wasn't that, Chrissy? Can't be mentioning that, son. But
so, from Super Teens, did you do the full? It was at MRO Super Teens back then.
Yeah, the MROs, and the Bemsey was always on the Saturday. The production thing was on the Saturday. So.
And did you do a full championship of that?
Yeah, I done the last round in 2003 because I won the Mini Motor Championship with a round to go, so we just scrapped that and went and done the last round of the Super Team Championship, and then 2004 we done the full year. But where all the tracks were new to me, we kind of used the Bemsey day as a practice day and focused on the actual Super Team Championship.
And who was in the championship back then?
There was me, Kev Cogland, Bradley Smith, Robbie Brown. Who else was there? Dean Hipwell. That was about it.
Whatever happened to Kev Coglan?
He had a big crash at Schleitz on an R1 and broke his back quite bad, and I don't think he's ever quite recovered. But he's actually living in Spain now, in Barcelona, and he's got his own like riding school and things like that. So
cool.
if you ever want to hear a Scottish bloke speaking Spanish, you go to him.
Yeah, but that's funny.
Go on, give us an example. Go on,
how did you get on that year in the championship?
I finished second. I was leading it up until the last couple of rounds, and I just started making.
Was that to Kev?
Yeah. Me and Kev were battling for the championship, and then he got the better of me at the end of the day and won the championship.
And from there, did you and Bradley step up to the sort of Spanish or Grand Prix or something together?
Yeah, it was weird because I mean, God bless him, Chris Jones was in the running for it as well, because he was in the GP 125 class at that time, and Chris actually raced mini motors with us, so we was quite good mates.
Was that the year Chris passed away?
Yeah, 2005.
2005.
Yeah, 05. Yeah, he passed away. Yeah. He was meant to come with me, but the original plan was for my brother to go to the MotoGP Academy in Spain. And we went down to the last round in Valencia to the GP to have a meeting, and I just went along for the ride. We sat in the Suzuki hospitality and had a meeting with Alberto Puig, and he just turned around to my brother and went, sorry, but you're going to be too big. And I was just sitting there on the edge of the table, like looking like a little 3-year-old. And he was like, oh, do you race? And I said, yeah, my name's Daniel. And he was like, oh, what do you race? I said, Aprilia Super Teams. And he said, oh, okay, do you want to ride for me? I was like, sorry, mate, but yeah, please, yeah. I felt so bad on my brother, but...
Well, is your brother older or younger then?
Older. Yeah, like 18 months older.
So you were only at the meeting because of your brother?
Yeah.
But then he picked you because of your size?
Yeah, literally just because of my size. And it never...
Did you like small boys?
He just asked... Yeah, I sat on his lap.
Good lad. We've got him rightly buttoned up on the show now. This is all about the good crack. But
all the people Puig has sort of been involved with, though, if you look at like sort of Stoner, Danny Pedrosa, he has a very particular sort of body type of the rider that he chooses.
Well, the lighter you are, the smaller you are, the faster you're going to go.
Like smaller jockeys, really, isn't it, that he sort of focuses his attention on?
Yeah, he literally just said, where did you finish in your championship this year? And I said second, and he just said, well, do you want to ride for me? And I was like, but I'd already done a deal with, do you remember UK1 Racing? They won the championship with Christian Elkin, and they had Tommy Bridewell in their team, and it was kind of this was like when 125 teams had Arctics, and I think you had like the Red Bull team. Yeah, you had the Red Bull team and things like that, and I'd already signed a deal with them, and it was...
And what age is this?
I was 13 going on 14.
Signing deals.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It was like, but back in them days, it was, the racing wasn't how it was now. Like, you could get them opportunities, and it was an incredible opportunity I was being given. Like, I'd signed a contract with the team what had just won the British Championship, and then I just got off this deal.
So you didn't have to take money to the table, nothing. It was like, look, son, come race with me, kind of thing.
I think the UK1 Racing deal was $5,000 I had to pay, which it's
for
nothing,
a season's racing.
Yeah, it's nothing in context to what racing costs. And I went to the team owner, Kevin Newton, and he said, my dad told him about the opportunity we got, and he said, yeah, you can do both. I'm not going to hold you back. So, but in Spain at that time, you didn't have to run any weight on the bike, so you didn't have a minimum weight for bike and rider. It was just kind of go as you like.
Proper engineering racing kind of thing.
For me, it was a bit better because I was little, and in BSB we had to put 24 kilos of weight on the bike, which you put one of them on a 125, we couldn't find anywhere safe to actually put it.
Okay, in context, right? Go on. What? Give me an example of what that weight is.
24 bags of sugar.
Massive 24 kilos. Think like, well, what do you weigh? You must weigh about 60 kilos, do you?
Yeah, I weigh 57 kilos.
So it's just less than half of Danny.
Yeah. So
That's a lot of
massive.
weight.
Yeah.
It's basically like having a small child on the back.
That 3-year-old you knocked off, hopped on, and went for a lap with you. There you are.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight on a bike. That,
But obviously,
so
a massive advantage for the Spanish stuff, though.
Yeah, well, not so. I mean, because I was literally tiny. Like I struggled to manhandle the bike, but I had a couple of big crashes on the British Championship bike. And in the end, the Spanish lot went, look, you're gonna have to drop the British because it's damaging you. Like you come here and we take a load of step forwards, and then you go back there. And you just go back again. Like I had the bike seized going around church and had a massive crash around there. But the worrying thing was we'd lost the big ball of weight we'd put on the bike, and we was like, bloody hell, if that had hit me in the head or anywhere, it would have seriously hurt me. So we chose, and Kevin was really, really good, and he just said, well, just do the Friday practice because we could run without weight then on the Friday practice if he wasn't doing qualifying or anything. So he just let us do that. So, throughout the year, we just built and built and built. And
that's a huge opportunity, that, having like racing here as well as over there. That is huge.
Yeah, it wasn't just the racing either. Like, obviously, Bradley got signed up for the MotoGP Academy job as well with Dorna. But they'd have us out like 2 weeks before, and we would go testing, training. Literally, they would take us out cycling for like 40 kilometres when we were 14 years old, but we would cycle to a supermoto track, go supermotoing for 2 hours, and then cycle back, sort of thing. It was proper intense.
And obviously, being around sort of 13,
14, you're still discovering boobs at this point. You know what I mean? You're not pedaling supermoto. My God.
Around being 13, 14, did you just have to knock school on the head then?
I was going to school as much as I could. When I was back, but I was never, because I'm not that clever. I was going
because you didn't go to school. That's why.
But I was going to school, and because you don't mess with, like, I never see my mates, so I was always messing around at school with my mates instead of doing it out of school because I couldn't do it out of school. And my mum worked at the school, so every time I was in trouble, mum was like, Daniel, what have you done now? I was like, oh shit, my mum's in.
What did your mum do at the school?
I think she was just like a secretary. So
God, even worse. Coming and going's a lot. Then.
Oh mate, I could never get away with anything at school. Like it was.
Did you finish your time at school? Like, did you have to do your exams and stuff, or did?
No, I think was it.
By that time, we were already in MotoGP.
By that time, I'd just gone into GPs, and I couldn't. Well, I actually went into school one day, and I was sitting in class, and they went, "You're not meant to be in this class." And I said, "I've been here for 3 years." And I was like, "Yeah,
that's the problem. You should have gone up."
Yeah, I was still in year 7. All the kids were like 9 in their first year in secondary school. I was still the same size as them, but anyway, I was like, "But I've been here for 3 years," and she was like, "You're not on the register." I went, "Well, what am I meant to do?" She went, "Go and see the headmistress." So I went and see the headmistress, and she went, "Oh, we've taken you off the registers." I went, "So I'm not really at school?" And she went, "No." I went, "All right, see you later." And that was it. That was the end of my school thing. And I was away in China when they done the GCSEs, racing, and so I didn't do my GCSEs. Mm-hmm. So I've got to make this work, really. I've got no choice.
And so, from was that initial year? Was that in what you would call the CEV, like the Spanish Championship?
Yeah. So the CEV was what year was that? 2005. I done that.
Like Junior World Championship.
Yeah.
Did you do quite well there?
Yeah. Well, to begin with, I struggled, and then I was getting there towards the end of the year. The end of the year, they always had a couple of Grand Prix riders come and do the last 2 rounds. Valencia, I was going well and I crashed, and then Jerez, I ended up on the podium, and there was me. Remember Mikel Ransada? He was like on the factory KTM rider, and him, and then me on the podium. So, and we was all kind of quite close together. So the year after, Bradley went up to GP, and then I stayed in the MotoGP Academy, what was then run by Red Bull, and that was kind of the first year. That was the year Marquez kind of made a scene in Spanish Championship. So, but I broke my wrist I was out training. I broke my wrist at home, so I missed like all the pre-season testing. And then we went to a Catalan race at the beginning of the year. It was my first time, and we got into the race, and I had this little kid come past me down the straight. I was like,
"You're getting it.
You are getting it." And anyway, I was quicker than him, like in the twisty stuff, but he carried him past me down the straight. Anyway, it was Marquez. So we was going down the start and finish straight, and because I carried on passing him back, he literally looked at me and just hit me onto the grass. Down the grass.
How old would he have been?
He must have been 12 or 13.
And you'd have been about...
I think I was 15 then, yeah.
So are you a fan of him now or not? No, come on.
You've got to respect it. You know what he's done. And
You watched that high side and went, that's what you get for knocking me on the grass there.
No.
He's sitting there winded and you're like, that's what you get, son. That's what you
But it's surreal because when you see when someone does something like that, and I'd obviously done the Spanish Championship the year before, and as a kid he's obviously watched it and he knows who you are, and to have balls to do that to anyone, you've just got to be like. And from that day,
it might just be a racist. Might not like the English, you know.
Maybe not. No. But from that day, I kind of knew he was going to be something special because he was, you know, no matter what, you can't take that aggression and that wanting something that bad away from him, and you could just tell that he was going to be something special.
Were you friends with him off track?
I didn't really see much of him then, because then I don't think he could do the Spanish Championship that year because he might have been too young. But he was doing that Catalan Championship. So it was kind of me that year. It was me and Paul Espargaro. We was always running at the front of the Spanish Championship, but I used to throw it away more often than I used to finish. So yeah, from that year, I done my first GP, and then the year after I went to GP in 07.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been surreal walking around them paddocks.
Oh,
you know what I mean? You just walk around. I bet you must have just gone, what the hell? You know, there's Rossi, there's
It must have been a hell of a life for those, like, was it about 6 years you were in Grand Prix?
Yeah.
6 years, travelling the world, like, literally going to every continent, and just, like, the experience that, like, as a young teenager, that must have just been, like, literally unreal.
Yeah, and from like, the Spanish Championship, obviously with Dorna and being away and training and that, the first time I went away, I was like, I rang my dad and he went, what can you see? And I was like, Barcelona. Like, I could see Barcelona. I was there on my own. I was 13 because I got there a day before everyone else. But I kind of got used to doing it on my own because the Dorna wouldn't allow the parents to come. They'd allow the parents to come to the race weekend and watch, but literally it was watched. They couldn't get involved. They could see us after the session and say well done, but they couldn't get involved at all. Which
that's actually
was this part of an academy?
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
It was Dorna's academy, because you can get the parents being a bit
motocross dad parents, can't you?
And aside from the actual like track stuff, was there lots of training in like sort of media and health and fitness and training, and like what did they sort of give you as part of the academy?
Not so much media stuff, but they used to, like I said, they used to take us away for 2 weeks at a time and train us. We used to be like in a sports college, and we used to have physical tests and go out cycling and supermotoring, and now and again like Gibernau and Pedrosa used to come along with us, and it was like that was like bloody hell. I remember Pedrosa come and see us when we was training, and because his best mate was training us, he come to show him the new car. You know, when the Civic had that new shape, he come and showed us it. Well, he reversed into a tree. We were all like little kids pissing ourselves because he's reversed his car into a tree.
He just got out and threw the keys away. It's crap.
But just things like that. It was an incredible opportunity to be given. And yeah, it's surreal when you look back at it now, and you see some of the kids trying to get into Moto3 and things like that. You just, I was in the right place at the right time, and I was lucky for that. I really was.
And you appreciate that, and that's what.
Yeah.
I remember when I was so it would have been 2009. It was my first year sort of road racing, and the Aprilia Super Teens did the support race at the MotoGP, and I remember it was like the first sort of big paddock I'd been in. I don't even think I'd been into a BSB paddock at this point, so it was like even just the trucks and the hospitality, and like me and all my mates would sneak into the paddock on a night and like go and nick, you know, Monster Energy and stuff. And I remember this dead clearly. I remember seeing you and Scott Redden so 2009 you would have been 18,
yeah,
and you and Scott, and all weekend just like wheeling bikes, like you was on these scooters with like a girl on the front, girl on the back, and I was just thinking that is like going around the world at that age, you know, just living the life. You know, as a young lad, I would have been what, 12 at the time, 12, 13. I remember seeing that and just thinking that is like, if I could have any life, if I could do anything in my life, that is what I want to do.
I bet you were thinking, I bet he's stuck in at school. If I stick in school, become a maths teacher, I'm going to be Danny Webb. That's what you thought. How wrong were you?
You know, I bet you and Scott must have been real good mates back then, were you?
Yeah, well, we done many motos together. So, and then Scott done my second year in the MotoGP Academy. Scott come in then as well. So we was best mates, like. And then the year after, he went to Blue Sense in Spanish Championship, and then I went to GPs with the Dutch team, and but then the year after he come to GP, so we're like back together again and just causing mayhem, crashing scooters and flipping, just
Is there any like particular pranks or anything like that stands out as being like that would just like you had to be there type of thing?
I mean, me and Scott we was always messing around on the scooters and that. But my second year in GP was kind of when I kind of got going in GP. I suppose my first year was a bit of a disaster, but luckily I saved the day with a point scoring finish for the team towards the end of the year. Because before that, they was like, "Look, you're gonna have to bring 150 grand next year if you want to keep your ride." And my dad was like,
"We do not have 150 grand.
We haven't even got 10 grand. Like, that's never going to happen." So we went away to the flyaways, and it was wet in Japan, and I finished 13th, and the team hadn't scored points in 10 or 15 years or something, and they was literally right, you're on for next year. And that was it. And I was like, bloody hell. And they went from Hondas to Aprilias. So that was 08 was my first year kind of running at the front, but I was surprised with how much difference the bike made, because I went from finishing like 20th to the first test being 7th, and it was like, Jesus Christ.
At that point you think, we can do this now,
Yeah, but we had I had American teammate Stevie Bonzi, and then a Dutch
Stevie
teammate.
Bonzi, what a name.
Yeah. He was a lunatic.
Bonzi. Bonsai Bonzi.
And then and Hugo Vandenberg, a Dutch.
You're making these up now.
Yeah. But we had this this guy to look after us, the riders, try and keep control of us. And we was on the way to the test in Qatar. We used to do like a 2-day test before, and then have like 4 days off before the first round. And we always used to go around the roundabout trying to drift the car. And we had this guy was winding the guy up who was meant to be looking after us trying to drift it. And Stevie was in the front pulling the handbrake round the roundabout. And we went, right, we'll just do one more. So we're going round, and then as we've gone to come off the roundabout, Stevie's yanked the handbrake up again, and it's just gone like that, straight into the central reservation. The wheels bouncing down the road. We've managed to limp the car across to the little bit of desert like outside the track. I've banged my head, so I was like, oh, fucking hell, like,
what have you done?
Am I even going to be able to ride? Like, and we've walked into the track, and the team manager's gone, God, you lot look a bit hot. And I was like, yeah, bloody hell, it's hot out here today, isn't it? Like,
sweat's running off your swollen heads.
Everyone's coming up to us going, oh, have you seen that car outside the track written off? And
no.
We're all like, oh, yeah, see it on our way in. And then we was like, I think that test I was second, Stevie was 5th, and Hugo was 9th or something. And then the guy who was looking after us had to break it to the team manager that it was our hire car, and can we get a lift back with you guys? Anyway, the next morning we've gone down to the breakfast buffet, and our guy is being escorted out by the police in handcuffs in Qatar. Like, it's proper strict out there, because where they'd photocopied his driving license and his stamp when he comes in, it looked like there was an 06 on it and not an 08. So they thought he'd been in the country for 2 years illegally, and everyone just left him in the cell. Everyone left him in the cell for like 24 hours, and then we went and got him out in the end. So yeah, proper. You do like 3 years over there if you jump a red light.
Yeah, it is mega strict.
That's meant there's all you three wine. It's got hash in the back, mate. He's got loads of hash.
Mate, absolutely. To keep control of us.
What's that bloke's name? What's that bloke? You don't even know his name, do you?
Marlon Flout is known.
Wait, fair play to you, son. If you listen to this, he
honestly, he looked after us, but he did have a big job on his hands looking after us. Like.
Were you based in Spain for those years, and then travel around Europe in a motorhome or something? Or?
We had the team actually. rented a motorhome off my godfather, and he took the motorhome round for us. But it was kind of for all three of us just to use during the day. Like the team had a good budget then, but I was based in Holland pretty much of the time with the team, because that's where they was based. And I actually,
were your folks still here?
Yeah, my folks were in the UK. I was 16, 17, but I was actually living with that Marlon, so. Yeah, he can never get away from me. He was like, he had a normal job as well, and when he'd come home, he was like, he had to look after me, and I was
I hope that lad got a lot of money. There you go.
You must have got to know, like, when you got to the age of like 23, 24, and you think of like all the countries you've been to and like all the experiences you've had, is like, compared to a normal life, it's like unbelievable, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it was incredible. Like, it was just to have 6 years at it was I would do things in a different way, because I could have possibly done with someone being a bit stricter with me, and just holding me back a little bit sometimes on track and off track, because sometimes on track I would try and override the bike and end up crashing, whereas I think if I had someone there just holding me back a little bit and just trying to help me calm down a bit, I think I possibly could have done a better and been more consistent. But it is what it is. I'm here now, so
I was about to say, you're still living the dream. You're still in the world circuit and everything. Like, we make it sound like you're a 70-year-old bloke who's had his best time of his life, but you're still at the game, though.
Yeah, it was incredible. But when it does stop, it's a massive change in lifestyle. Like, I really struggled when I stopped in GPs. I really did struggle.
It just like sort of mentally.
Yeah, just mentally. I didn't know what to do with myself. Like, I'd spent, because I'd lost my GP ride halfway through 13. 13. Then I spent the money I had saved up on a World Supersport ride, and then at the end of that, again, the team turned around and said, "Yeah, we really like you. We think you've got a lot of talent, but we need a load of money," and it just wasn't going to happen. So yeah, and I
remember you did that little spell with PTR, didn't you?
Yeah, that was
Simon Buckmaster. Yeah. Have you seen Simon's running the Triumph thing for next year?
Yeah, it should be good.
Is it Dino Vault, the sponsor? It's all been released today.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas who the riders are for that, by the way?
Haven't got a clue.
He does, man. He twitched.
No, I've been trying to get. I work with Max Cook quite a bit, and I've been trying to get him on it, because I think
that would be a perfect step.
Yeah, but I don't think. I think Triumph and Simon probably need a good name to be there, and because they need to develop the bike a bit as well, because I think they're going to run a 765 in it as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, because the Supersport wheels have just been opened up for Triumph and Ducati. Yeah, so I think it's Ducati 899s and Triumph 765s.
How much is one of those Ducatis though?
Oh, I don't know.
899s are cheap. No, they're not. The Ducati 899s as a stock bike are very cheap, but then you'll have to spend quite a bit of money on, because that's what they're running. Is 899s? Is that not what they're running the Tri-Options Cup? And that's 20 grand for the whole season, and you get to keep the bike. So the bike must be about 10. The bike must be about 10 grand, is it? Which
So how are they going to police that then? So they're running a 7. What was that?
765 Triumph.
Yeah.
So what's the plan there?
I think that's why they're doing it in because they originally wanted to do it in World Supersport, but I think they've gone. It's going to be too much of a bit of a clusterfuck.
Yeah, of course it was.
Trial it in
so I think
BSB.
They're going to trial it in BSB and then.
But like trial it and what? Like no, I'm picking at details now, but it's a bit like what they're going to do. Slow the it's a 7 to 600 versus a 7.
Well,
no, a 7.
We mentioned this on the last one about a little bit like the Supersport 300 class. They've got 300s, 390s, and 400s in the same class. Yeah. But then they can use like rev limits and things to do with ECU. I think this year is going to be a bit of a trial to get like parity amongst the bikes.
Yeah.
And then once they've got the rules set, then they'll take it over to World Supersport. I think's the idea.
It's the same because World Supersport in a minute you all have to run the same ECU, and different manufacturers have different rev limits, and I think that's what they will do with these in the end, and just so they get an ECU, Dawn will give you the ECU and say, right, that's what's got to go on that bike and that's what's got to be in it, and then they'll police it from there.
Right,
I'm assuming they're just going to find out the rev range and things like that.
Now, just before we move on to the next part, because we've kind of skipped, I really wanted to just ask you about the last ever 125 Grand Prix race. I remember watching it live, and wet qualifying at Valencia, and being your first pole position in Grand Prix. That's on the way down here, we were just chatting about like what we're going to talk about and stuff, and I got the timesheet up and I was looking at the names in that, and like Maverick Vinales was nearly 3 seconds behind you, and you're going down and it's just name after name after name. Talk us through that day and like how I mean, was that when you're on the Mahindra?
Yeah. So it was we started scoring points on it, which wasn't bad because the bike wasn't really that great, and I got out that morning. It was a crap day. Like it was just drizzling, and it was on and off.
It's now or never.
Yeah, and we went out in quality, and nothing was happening. I was like 29th, and I was riding around. I was thinking nothing was coming to me. So I come in the pits, and I just said to the team, "Stick slicks on." They went, "Are you mad?" I went, "Just put them on. We've got nothing to lose. We're near the back anyway, so what's a couple of positions going to do?" And they went, "All right then." So I went out and I thought, bloody hell, there's quite a bit of grip out here. And that was it. I just got my head down, CP2 on my board, and I thought, I just thought I can do this, and just pulled the pin, and that was it. We got pole, and I come in, and at first I didn't know, and then I come in, I see everyone got like the Ducati garage was out, and everyone was going absolutely mental. I was like, flipping out, I must have done it.
P3 was over 2 seconds behind. So
yeah,
that's mint.
You, Louis Rossi, Zarco, Louis Salom, Cortese, Vinales, Terrell, Folger, Martin. Jack Miller was 12th in that. Danny Kent's in that one. Taylor McKenzie,
yeah.
John McPhee's sort of still in that category, really, isn't he? All these years later. Harry Stafford. Whatever happened to Harry Stafford?
I think he had a big crash, didn't he? He was riding an MV, and he crashed at Alton. I think he had a big crash, and they said because he had a couple of knocks to the head before, and I think the doctors just said, "Look, if you have one more,
you're in trouble."
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was an incredible day. Like Mahindra's first pole, and that was the first race actually Mr. Mahindra was at as well. So it was insane.
Is that the highlight of your career so far?
I would say so, yeah. And you know what, in the press conference afterwards, the only person what said well done and don't let anyone take that away from you was Casey Stoner.
Really?
Yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah. He went, you know, everyone knows that there was 2 of us out on slicks. He went, but you still done it, he said, and don't let anyone take that away from you. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
From your time in Grand Prix, did you sort of mix with the sort of big stars at all? Like, were you mates with any, like Rossi, Stone, or any of them?
Nicky Hayden always used to stop and say hello. Always, him and his dad always used to stop and ask how you was doing. He was one of the most down to earth blokes I've met. Colin Edwards as well. Nico Canepa was always one of them as well, and. But mainly I would say it was kind of just me and Scott, and a couple of Marcel Schrotter. He was always a good mate of mine. Used to speak to Jonas Folger quite a bit, and just them. Yeah, that kind of group, that era, we all kind of grew up together, so we all just got along quite well.
Mm-hmm. And so back to where we were up to. Obviously, so went to World Supersport for a half season, and then you were saying you were kind of feeling lost, and a massive part of your life had kind of been taken away, the sort of Grand Prix lifestyle and stuff. Was there anything in particular that sort of helped you get through that period, or any person that sort of helped you?
Probably the road racing helped me get through it, definitely. It was just when Tim Reeves first went to the TT, I said, "You are absolutely mental." Like I wasn't against it, but I was like, I respect the guys who do it, but I would never do it. And
right.
And then he went to the TT, and he went quite well. And then he invited me over to the Isle of Man for a charity night at the Mount Murray, and I said, "Yeah, I'll come and do it." And it was snowing and all sorts. Like it was, and you know what? You buy a cheap car out there, didn't you? And Tim had this cheap car, and he took me. And the first time I went down Bray Hill, I think we got to Quarter Bridge, and I went, "Now I understand why you do it."
And that's in a higher car.
And And from that day, I just went.
If Tim Reeves driving that would be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting.
I've just thought to myself, I will do this. I will definitely. It just completely changed my mind and I only wanted to do it was because it went on my bucket list, and I did so much respect for the people who done it then, because if you haven't been to the TT, you don't understand how steep Bray Hill is. Like, and from that day, I just went. So I finished in World Supersport, and I just thought, I needed something different. And I contacted Paul Phillips, and Paul went, "Is this a joke?" And I went, "No, I'm being serious. Like, I want to have a go." So that was it. Yeah, just got into the road racing.
What was the first team that you joined?
I was doing a little bit with Motorbreakers just to get up to speed on a ZX10, but I struggled, to be honest with you. I really did struggle big time. I'd done a handful of track days. I went to Alton Park and wrote the bike off. And then that was it. I was meant to be going to the Northwest, but I didn't because we didn't have a bike ready, because we didn't have the money to repair the bike.
And what year is this? Sorry, I'm trying to put it in context. 2014, right?
Yeah, and
right.
We'd done a deal with the TT guys and with Ryan Farquhar.
So was the KMR bikes that you came over with?
Yeah.
So that was your first season in roads, was with Ryan Farquhar. I was wondering when that connection happened.
Yeah, but I'd met Ryan a couple of years before. He come out to Valencia, and he was doing a speech for my sponsor, and he was at, you know what Ryan's like when he's on the piss. He was on form, and he was like, if you ever want to ride on the roads, let me know. And it ended up that we ended up together. So yeah, but I couldn't have gone there with anyone else, because Ryan he's one of the best guys around that place.
Did you not touch the 600 the first year? It was just the 650.
And the big bike. And
you went on the full. No, you went on the full stable.
What was the big with Ryan as well?
Yeah, and I hadn't had a lot of experience. This was the thing. I was like
3 bikes, mate. Was it 3? But no, you were on the Super Twin as well, weren't you?
Just a Super Twin and a Super Bike.
Yeah,
I didn't have a Super Sport bike.
You couldn't have got 2 worse bikes to have opposite each other, you know what I mean? Fair enough, like a big bike and a 600, but like you're going from like less than 100 brake horsepower to 200. That's it. It's a different track, isn't it?
And I hadn't done a lot on the big bike, so looking back at it now, it's a little bit like flipping out. I shouldn't have really done that, but the TT, they give you the support, you know, they help you learn the circuit. You got Johnny and Milky there, and
were you going over there all the time?
I was going over there a lot and learning it, and I had a lot of advice from Ryan and Johnny Barton and them kind of guys. But the first night was cancelled, I think, and then the second night when I got to do my newcomers lap, I wanted to go on Super Twin. I was like, no, just go on the big bike, because I was like, and honestly, I got up on the line and I thought,
it's the bum going like a rabbit's nose.
Honestly, I felt like turning around and just walking off.
Really?
I thought, what have I let myself in for? I was like, I don't want to do it. I just said, because my dad was coming the next day, I think. My godfather was there with me, and I was like, I'll just go and do the newcomers lap. So I've tried it, and then I'll throw the towel in.
We were planning on throwing the towel in.
Honestly, because I was petrified. But I've met, you remember Dan Kruger? Dan Kruger, Canadian lad.
Yes,
he hurt himself in Macau.
Yes,
he was there because I turned up on the Isle of Man like a week when the Northwest was going on. He was teammates with Simon Andrews when he lost his life.
Yeah.
And Dan come over, and I spent a bit of time with him, so we'd done some laps. So I kind of got quite friendly with him. So he was with us as well in the queue, in the newcomers thing. Anyway, we set off, and I've come back. I'm grinning from ear to ear, and they're like, "What do you think?" I was like, "Get me back out there!" Like that was it. I was hooked.
Now,
and I honestly, I was gonna go. I've done a lap. It's not a bit of me, because I was shitting myself.
You would be, wouldn't you? But I bet. Hold on.
I was hanging on to it. I was like flipping tea-towel in the wind, like. But I enjoyed it so, and that's all I was gonna do. Just if I didn't feel comfortable on a part of the track, I'll just take it easy, and then I'll give it a little blood. And that's I was happy, like just on a Sunday day out. I was just loving it.
So how fast now? We say this all the time. Now, your newcomers lap for me doesn't count. It is a total eye-in exercise.
Yeah.
Your first flying lap, where you're out with everyone.
Yeah.
What was that experience? That must have changed it huge. Because I remember my first flying lap, and it was just like, holy, people are going, boom, boom. It felt like race mode.
Oh, yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's but the end of that newcomers lap, I actually turned around to Dan. I went, "What do you think?" He went, "I couldn't see anything." I went, "It's because you still got the flipping film on the inside of your visor." He'd done a full newcomers lap with the film on the inside of his visor. I was like, "You flipping idiot!"
Okay, right. For our listeners, that is essentially like film. You're talking tracing paper.
Yeah,
it is that. That is that thickness. Fair play to him.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised you got round.
My God, he must have just been following your tail all the way.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, the first flying lap, like you say, you get to a point and you're just like going through, and then you're just like flipping hell.
It is unreal, isn't it?
It is. It's even now, like my heart's just, and you can't explain that feeling. It's just flipping incredible. It is incredible.
So your first road race was down Bray Hill at the Isle of Man TT.
Yeah, and it would have been a Superbike race. Yeah.
My God, that is proper. That is it's the world's biggest, most dangerous race in the whole world. Fair play. That is how you get your feet wet. I'm telling you.
That's like, I look back at it now. I was like, flipping. What was I thinking? But yeah.
So how did that momentum carry on? So what happened after that TT then?
After TT, I went and done Armoy. Just done that on Ryan's twin.
I remember being on the newcomers bus with you. I remember him turning up, right? Full on, right? Have you ever been to Ireland at this point?
No.
You hadn't, right?
No.
Now, bearing in mind, this is Northern Ireland we're talking. Everyone's bombing round in jeans, rigger boots, everything like that. Here comes this southern geezer. He's got his white trainers on, socks, short shorts like what you wear, like a Manbag satchel thing. And every local, right, just looked at him and went... Yeah, we'll see how this young'un gets on. I remember sitting there, right? I'll never forget this. I was sitting there, right? Who was I sitting there? Oh, God, anyway, I was sitting there with my mate, Anthony Ambler. And I remember looking up at you. I had no idea who you were till later on. This is at Macau when I knew who you were. I remember sitting there looking at you going, if a man with a handbag beats me, I'm going to go home. I'm telling you. Because it was my first Irish road race in Armoy as well. I mean, if he beats me, I had no idea it was Danny bloody Webb. And then like that. I remember in one race, you just went, boom. I went, oh, well, just being beaten by a handbag.
I bet that was an eye-opener going from like Grand Prix circuits to
yeah. But I've done it because William. I don't know if that was that. It couldn't have been the same year. 14.
It was. Hold on. There was a year after it bounced down. Did you?
We done a race, but it was kind of damp in the race. I only done the twin race. I finished 9th. I think.
Right, because I was there on my 600. You see?
Yeah, no.
Because like they had a newcomers race. They always have like this newcomers race, and you hauled past me on the twin on the brakes. I was like, oh my God, this lad can fucking ride a motorcycle. Like, my God.
Yeah, so anyway, I done that was 14. I done that, and I went to the Ulster on a 600 because I done a bit for I was just riding a 600 in the BSB in that Evo class, and I was riding that, and he said, "Do you want to do the Ulster?" And I said, "Yeah, all right." Then
was that the Colin Appleyard looking bike? Did you ride for Colin Appleyard?
Yeah, the year after. I remember
the R6 connection.
Yeah, so anyway, got to the Ulster and done the first day and really enjoyed it. But it was like, damn, really enjoyed it. And then went out for the next day, went out and Guy Martin had passed me. And I was like, right, I'll just learn off him. Going down, it was on the outlap and just went into Joey's windmill and the slipstream just caught me and it sucked me in and I was going too fast. And I was a passenger at this time. And I just went, I'm dead. And there was a little gap between the fence post and the hedge. And I just tried aiming for it because I knew I was crashing. And I just went through it and just went straight over the handlebars, ended up in the field and wrapped in barbed wire. And it's the most pain I've ever been in. And they took me to...
I had no idea.
Yeah, they took me to the Royal and I'd done my shoulder blade, my ankle, foot, 5 ribs, punching my lung. I was in intensive care for 2 or 3 days, I think. Yeah, and I was I wasn't in a good state, and I was out there on my own as well. So it was like flip now, and luckily the guy who sponsored the team, when I could get out of hospital, took me out of hospital and drove me all the way back down to Kent. We got the ferry over to Scotland, and he drove me back down to Kent. But I was I was in so much pain then.
So what was your mindset? Okay, you've been in hospital, you've been in intensive care, you've gone through, like the reality of road racing. If it goes wrong, it's going wrong.
Yeah.
What was your mindset towards racing after that?
I was done. I was literally done. I packed up.
Road racing, or
you're talking racing
in general.
Really?
Yeah, I was done. And then I wasn't in a good place personally and mentally, and I was drinking a lot, and then it kind of got to it where I wanted to go back racing. So Robin Appleyard didn't have a team up yet, so I got in contact with him and we'd done a deal. But to be honest, I could ride the bike fast, but I wasn't physically fit as well. My mind probably wasn't. I totally focused on the job. I was working as well, and I just wasn't. I wasn't completely into it. And I went back to the TT on the twin that year and thoroughly enjoyed it. And
that was a top 10 that year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See what I mean? That's a huge jump. That's yeah.
Yeah, so and I enjoyed it. So then that's what just got me back into it. I'd done the year with Robin, and then we got to the end of that year and we just wasn't carrying on. So yeah, then I looked to go elsewhere, and the Penn's BMW team approached me about riding for them. So I just kind of went with them, and that was it really. But
that took you into the international road racing, didn't it?
Yeah. What did I do with them? I done the TT. And
Northwest.
I'd done the Northwest.
Yes, that was it.
With them, I'd done the Northwest, TT, Froberg, and Macau with them that year. Yeah, that was it. And then because I went all right at Macau.
All right, you've
that was
not that year, but the following later on in the career, which we'll get to anyway. Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah. So then because at first they wasn't gonna keep me on, and then because I went all right at Macau, they decided to keep me on.
Yes.
So yeah, and then we just kept it on. The team was good. I kept riding the twin for Ryan, and just started doing the road racing. That year we done Horace, that Czech Republic road race. It's flipping nuts.
I've never been over. I would love to do some of those rounds. I really would.
It's nuts. And then we didn't do Northwest that year. And then we done the TT, but that was when we had all the rain, and then they kind of sent a load of people out. And I was like in the middle of all these people, and I went into where did you crash that year?
Laurel. No.
Laurel. Yeah, I went into Laurel Bank, and
Laurel Bank.
That little bump going in there.
Boof, boof. Yep.
I hit the bump, and I had to release the brake to settle it, and then I was going in too fast, and I see I was going towards the wall, and I just tried berming the wall, and I hit the post and went down, and dislocated my shoulder and broke L1 to L4 in my back.
That's so, that crash is on YouTube, and yeah. I'm glad that you're sitting here and all right. But that is if you get a moment, click on that, because that is it's.
When you've actually you're like,
because you've described that pretty sexy, and it sounds like it hurts. Listen to it, but you watch the video and gone, my God, that hurts.
Yeah. And then I had Joe Ackroyd next to me in the hospital, and Lee Johnson. It was like
we had Joe on the podcast not long ago. It was a right laugh.
But I think because when I done it, they come to me and we went, right, we're going to have to fly you to is it Manchester or
Liverpool they tend to drop you off at.
Yeah, but that got me mixed up with Joe.
Looking at the height, going,
he's
had a leg injury.
There's a little midget in the bed, and then there's Joe who's like 7 foot tall.
All right, I'm not done.
But yeah, they got us mixed up, and then I think they flew Joe off to have. I think he broke his back then as well.
Yeah, he made a right mess with his back. Yeah.
So yeah, they flew him off, and mine was stable, so it wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then it went from there, and then I rode for Classic Suzuki at the Classic TT, and
it's a lovely looking bike, bits and bobs.
Yeah, fantastic group of guys. And
hold on, you rode that RG 500 round there. I bet that now you couldn't have got an angrier bike to go around the TT on.
You say
nice sides. You and Bruce Anstey and hold on. Connor Cummins, I think they're the only blokes man enough to get on those things and ride them.
Yeah, they were incredible bunch of guys. Then the Pens lot give me a chance to jump on their endurance bike for the 24 hours. So that was that was that year I broke my back. Yeah, it was that year I broke my back. So
do you enjoy the endurance racing?
Oh, it was incredible. But again, I was more in shape than what I was the year before, but I wasn't really in shape to do a 24-hour race, but I just gritted my teeth and we got through it.
I would love to do one of the.
Did they get on the podium?
We finished second. Like,
See,
it was like I know.
Start the conversation with that, you know.
But I was literally, I couldn't get on the bike, and then when I got on it, I was alright. I could move around, but
Who was in your team there?
Reitenberger and Alex Polita.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, it was. But yeah, that was like a complete surprise because I'd done the classic, and the team were like, "Do you think you'll be able to ride 24 hours?" And obviously, you're not going to say no, are you? So I was like, "Yeah, of course." And I was a bit like, "Not sure," but got like 4 stints in, and I just couldn't walk. But you know what it's like; you just grit your teeth and get on with it. So,
do you still get them opportunities to go do that? Like, do people still knock on the door and say, "Come do a bit of endurance racing"?
Yeah,
If you need a teammate, I'm available. You know what I mean? 100% available. I know. Obviously, let's face it, you pick Chrissy first, but if he's not available, then pick me.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. The endurance was it's incredible. Like the atmosphere and the experience was incredible. And then like just going in there, not really expecting much, and to be on the podium, it was
that's
like
phenomenal.
Flipping out, like incredible. And then went to Macau after that.
Was that the same year?
No. The year that would have been my second year at Macau.
Now let's talk through that Macau, mine, because you absolutely became, in my opinion, like this is my humble opinion, like you went from there to there, you know, you stepped up such a huge jump. It was like, look, Danny Webb, I'm not a short circuit rider. Yeah. And it's like Macau is the most dangerous track out there. There is zero runoff, but it really adopts that short circuit atmosphere. But you just totally grabbed it with both hands. You were second place for most of it, weren't you?
Yeah.
You led it. Hold on, did you lead it into the first corner?
No, I didn't lead it, but I that year, because I'd had a bit of short circuit experience on a big bike, and I started to ride a big bike better.
Yeah, because you're doing a bit of stock 1000 at that point, weren't you? No, did you do stock 1000?
I'd done a few endurance races,
yes.
But I'd done the IRRC season as well.
Yes.
And I'd done the TT, and I rode a stocker there, just in all the classes, and I think I broke down on the twin, but I rode a stocker in all the classes, and I started to get going. I think you done 100. Oh, that might have been the year you crashed actually.
Yeah.
But I think you'd done 128 or something, didn't you?
Yeah, no, 27, and then I found myself in a wall.
Yeah.
The fun of racing, kids.
But I think I'd done 26 and a half that year.
Good lad.
Whereas I think I could have gone quite a bit quicker if we'd have been able to set the bike up a bit better and things like that. But after that, with the IRRC Championship, they give me a chance to ride the Superbike. And I just got on it and just instantly clicked with it. Although there wasn't a lot of difference, there's just a bit more power and the suspension was a bit different.
Yeah.
And I had someone to come and set the suspension up for me. So I think having that experience with the bigger bike and on the roads, it just helped me that bit. And then we went to Macau, and I kind of shocked myself because I think the first session I was like third, and I was like, flipping hell, but we'll see what happens this afternoon. And then I was third again. I was like, bloody hell. And then qualifying, I think I qualified fifth or something. Then in the race it was, I think...
and this is your second time at Macau?
No, third time.
Third time, but bear in mind, it's like every other road race, it takes time to learn these places and considering who you're fighting against.
Yeah.
Like, who was in that race at that point? Was that Glenn?
No.
Last year? No, was that
Hickey,
last year was the year before, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Hickey...
Rutter
on the RCV.
Gary Johnson would have been there.
Gaz, Jessup.
Yeah, seriously fast lads, anyway.
Yeah.
Who know that?
Yeah, so it's quite... I mean, we had Birdie. We was in the same garage as Birdie's Ducatis and that. And then there's... my bike was good. It was quick enough. But it was literally the motor and that was it. We had had a good motor and then everything else was stock on it. And we was actually... Not many people know, but we was actually running electronic suspension.
Yeah.
It was like upgraded electronic suspension, but I was trying to develop it for them throughout the year, and that's where when we went there, the suspension guy didn't come, and it was like no one else knew what to do, so we just literally
left it.
It wasn't kind of doing what I wanted it to do, but
it's quite complicated to set up that I've never used the electronic suspension, but someone said it sort of calculates, so the harder you brake, it stiffens itself up, but it's progressive, basically the suspension can change during the lap, and I'm sure further say 5-10 years down the line, I'm sure
thanks to Danny Webb,
I'm sure the technology will be developed enough that it can start to compete against the likes of the traditional, like Oland's and K-Tech and the traditional stuff. But I think at the moment it's not really the popular choice, is it?
I think definitely, like, you can put kind of different maps in it. So if you had it at the TT, you could have it soft for one part, and then you could change the map, and it would stiffen up. So I think, give it time, it will get. It's
probably only as good as the guy that's setting it up, isn't it? So
like everything, isn't it?
Yeah, and the guy who I had on it was actually the guy who invented WP.
Right.
And now he's invented this, and he was working with me at the beginning of the year, so we got a good setting in it, and then he stopped coming for whatever reason, and then we went to Macau, and I think I'd done a 25.9 or something around there. So it's electronic suspension, but it can't be that bad because it's done a decent lap time, isn't it? So,
but even going back to that race, you've gone from that position. You went, talk us through it. Where did you get up to? You were sitting and holding your own so strong.
Yeah, I was.
You can't downplay this, Danny. It was a huge. You can't. It's not possible. I'm bigging this up to. It was brilliant.
Gaz I think Gaz got away better than me. And at the end of the first lap, they was just creeping away, and I thought, if I've got any chance in hell, I've got to get past Gaz now. So I managed to get past him, and then I closed back up to Hickey and Michael, and I closed back
Listen
up.
to yourself. The names you're chasing.
And I was like, and I think Hickey had just passed Michael. And then I come out of and you got the first turn and you left, and then the right, and Michael had just got in the little gully bit right next to the barrier, and I thought, I've got to run on Michael. But I couldn't pass him. Because I just thought, I knew he was quicker than me. I didn't want to mess his race up because I knew he kind of had a chance of winning it, and I knew I didn't have the speed on him, and I just Michael right around Macau, I just wanted to sit behind that bike as well and just listen to it
on the RCB.
Special, isn't it?
Oh,
it's about £250,000 that, I think.
Yeah,
but that track is so hard to pass. It is so hard to pass.
Yeah, and I just sat behind Michael, and then they just had more pace than me, and I just dropped back a little bit, and then Martin passed me, and then I was sitting behind him, and I thought, right, I'm gonna have a go on him on the last lap, and I think with 3 laps to go, the red flag come out, But
Jessup, bless him, he's always been the bridesmaid around there, hasn't he? Has he won one?
I don't think he
won.
I
think he's always been there. What's Jessup on with? Does anyone? He
stopped racing, didn't he? But then he puts things on now and again, like track days and whatever. So
playing around.
He come and done a Marcher last year. He come and done a Marcher with Pens, and he crashed, and I think he broke his shoulder in that.
Made a bit of mess of himself, didn't he? There we go.
Obviously, we'll get on to this year. You've had a great year racing in World Supersport, but as we're talking about the road racing side of things, do you have aspirations to go back to, do you think you'll get back to Macau at some point and maybe back to the TT, or where's your mind at with
what
regards
do
to
want
that?
to do?
I think it all depends on obviously the situation. I'm in a good situation as it is at the minute, and my personal life's really good. I'm engaged now.
Congratulations.
And I think if we I think if I start a family, I don't think I'll be able to put them through it. I would love to do it. I would absolutely love to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I will be able to put my family through it. But never say never. But I don't think, if anyone hasn't actually, it's one thing going to the TT and seeing it and having respect for people like that, but until you've tried it, I don't think you can have full respect for the riders, because even the rider who's finishing last place deserves the utmost respect, because honestly, it is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And hanging on to one of them things around there, it's insane, and it's the pinnacle of motorbike racing. And I don't care what anyone says, to win a TT is flipping absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Oh, fair enough. Well, and then getting on to
and even just trying it, like everyone thinks that you don't push 100%. All right,
you push.
You don't necessarily. It's a different kind of way, and I'm sure Hickey would tell you. You know, you kind of have to ride the bike on the rear, but.
That is exactly what he said.
I don't even know what you mean. See, that's how uneducated I am. I don't even know what you mean by riding on the rear. Just twist the
135 mile an hour. It's
phenomenal.
It's speechless. It is literally how someone does that. It's incredible.
It is unreal, isn't it? It really is class.
Yeah.
Absolutely class.
Could you see yourself having a role, maybe working for a team as a coach for somebody doing the TT, or a spotter, or like team manager, or do you just like, because obviously you've got some valuable experience of doing it yourself. Do you see yourself passing that on in another form?
Yeah, I mean, I would always pass information on to whoever needs it, you know, because I believe that you know, the amount, if they don't take that information on board, that is up to them. But if you've been there and you've done it and you've kind of come from two disciplines, then if I was in their position, I would listen to it and take it on. But you know what some people are like. Some people think they know better.
Fair enough. In fact, just on that topic, would you ever consider, I've always thought, you know, the guy that changes the visors or like changing wheels or something, I don't think I could do it. No, the pressure.
Oh, I wouldn't be able to do
in the middle of the things. Like, that's something that just gets totally overlooked. Like, nobody really thinks about it. But the pressure, especially like, say, changing a wheel under that, you know, under the circumstances, middle of the race, the adrenaline's pumping, like the emotions. I mean, it takes some bottle to do that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Consider, like, the thing is, when you're on the bike, you've got 6 laps to figure out any mistakes you're doing as a rider.
Yeah.
They've got over 2 hours to sort out any mistakes. But for a mechanic,
that's the
30 seconds.
Even just doing a visor for me, I think if for example, if I came to do a visor, I think you'd just be like,
mate, can you do mine? Mate,
but that's
you
the
two
thing.
are me crew. You're me crew next year.
Well, I'm not.
You can do me wheel change.
I know what it's like to be a rider. You just come in the pits and you think, I just want to get going as soon as I possibly can. Just have a bit of drink and get going as soon as I possibly can. And there'll be us shitting ourselves trying to do your visor, and that's not a bit of me.
Mate, that's exactly what I'd want you two to do.
All you care about is getting going, and then to care about getting a visor locked in and the rear wheel done up tight enough. Well, no, it's not a bit of me.
You're not fancying it then, Chrissy?
Not a bit of me.
I think you should, man. I think you should. So here's a question before we go into what you're doing now and what the future holds for you. What would be, if you stopped right now and went, I've had enough, bang, bang, draw the line under it, what would you miss the most out of everything that you've achieved? If you could have one more day in what you've done so far, what day would that be? It's got to be on the scooter with the women.
Probably crashing a hire car.
Crashing a hire car, there we go. But on all seriousness, if you're going to think, right, you had to pick one discipline, one moment, what would that be? Very deep conversation here.
Probably the 125 pole at Valencia. I'd love to skip back and just have that day again. I
bet.
Yeah. I would say that, yeah.
Just soak it up.
Yeah. Yeah,
it is a hell of an achievement.
That was a hell of a moment.
And we're getting on to this year, and to be honest, I've not really kept a close eye on
You've been busy
and World Superbikes. Yeah, basically for doing this show, we'll kind of quickly try and check the results, just so, or if there's a big crash or a big talking point to mention it. But it's not really a championship I've closely followed, and I've been, you see on social media and stuff. But looking through your results there, I can't believe how consistent you've been this year. I'll just quickly run through it. So 10th, 12th, 11th, 22nd, 9th, 8th, 10th, 18th, 9th, 10th, 8th, 11th, 10th, and finished 11th in the championship. So
in the world,
every single race in one of the most competitive championships, World Supersport. You must, like, before the season started, you would have taken your hand off for that.
Yeah, it's one of them though. Like I obviously I'd done the deal with the team to go World Supersport, and the team's it's a brand new team, so
because James Toslin was like, was he crew chief, was he? Or
he was kind of managing it,
yes.
and looking after me, but kind of the team sponsor from the Pens guys set it up, and we set it up as a brand new team, so everyone it was all new to everyone. And I was quite involved with setting it up as well, so it wasn't really just a rider, and we are like a big family. So we went testing. I've done a bit of riding on an R6 because I've been riding a big bike, so I had to get back used to riding an R6 and things like that. And
did you have that choice, by the way? Said, what bike do you want to go to do worlds on?
No, we just kind of went with Yamaha just because it seems to be the most competitive.
Yes, aye.
Seems to be the best package out there. So yeah, we went and done that, and we went and done a bit of testing. I see you in Almeria, didn't I? And we was just kind of doing laps, and then we went to a ref, and Krumenak had done a day with us there, and we wasn't too far away. And I was like, we'll be all right here. We'll be all right. We'll be able to, run in the top 10. And then I got to Australia and we done a 2-day test, and some of them come past me and I was like, oh my God, how am I going to go that fast? I honestly thought, I thought, how am I going to get up there? And everything's changed because from when I was doing Grand Prix, you didn't really get your elbow down or anything like that. It was a bit more old school style, and it all changed. Now the rider, people used to try and change the bike around the rider, but now the rider does more to help the bike, and that's what I had to try and get in my mind and try and change. And it took
You're on
me a
slicks
while.
now as well, aren't you?
Yeah, and it took me a while. And then although the results look quite consistent, we took quite big leaps forward during the year. Like at the end of the year, we was under a second off the fastest lap of the race and things like that, which towards the end of the year was good. And we found out some things, we need to try and get better with the bike. We've got good top speed, but we need to try and get better bottom end and mid-range and things like that. But that was just a thing we was always going to have to come across.
Yeah, of course,
setting
to
a new
build
thing up. Yeah.
Do you know how you mentioned earlier in your career there was one thing that you felt you were missing was to have that kind of somebody who was a bit stricter, somebody like a sort of coach figure who could guide you? Do you feel like James has had a big impact on you sort of riding this year?
Yeah, definitely. And I was mates with James when I was in GPs, and when the team first approached me of doing it, I thought, right, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to need someone to be like, to kind of not show me the ropes, but just
steer the ship.
Yeah. So
kick you up the arse.
Yeah.
Kick you up the arse, young.
So I started training in the winter, and I thought I was training hard, and then he come and done a gym session with me, and I was like hanging off the back of the treadmill. Can't go no more. But yeah, it did. It gave me a kick up the arse, and he was fantastic. He was you can't 2 times world champion to. We had a laugh as well, but when it come down to the business, it was quite serious. And
that's his old stomping ground, really, isn't it? World Superbikes.
Yeah.
Has he enjoyed being back involved?
Yeah, he has. Yeah. So it's been nice for him to get back involved and live some old memories, because he had to retire because of his wrist, and again, to stop something all of a sudden when that's all it's a massive. It plays with your head big time, and. So yeah, it was good. It was good to have him back, and we had some fun and some hard times as well. With training and things like that, and things always get a little bit tense. But we always got along and spoke about it. He told me the truth, and I told him the truth, and it was good.
Brilliant. And that's a 2-year deal, so I presume similar sort of setup for next year.
Yeah, it's looking like that. We're just trying to get everything organised now. I don't know if James is going to be on board for next year or not, but it'll be the similar sort of team around me. Ludek, who's the guy behind it all, he's on board. So without his support, it's amazing that he's done this for me. But we've got another young rider in the 300 class next year, a young Czech rider, Petra. So he's coming on board. So it should be good. We just want to get going again, really.
Oh, fantastic! And
Mint.
I've just got a quick. We're on something called a Patreon page. It's kind of like a social media, but it's like a subscription thing,
right?
And he has an OnlyFans, but we're not talking about that there again.
It's like an OnlyFans.
I can't even look him in the eye anymore after that. It's like nightmare fuel. You can't unsee it, Danny.
One of our patrons is that. So before each podcast, we'll kind of let them know who's going to be on, and then they get a chance to ask questions and stuff.
So first question for Joe Ackroyd.
Got a question from Nutty Andrew saying, if you could race any bike on any track, road, circuit, what would it be? Also, Danny, what is the secret to doing a 133 around Phillip Island on a 600? So you had both questions, yeah. Any track, any bike.
I must say, I can't really beat. It's in between the RG500 Raniala Man or the RGV99 Kenny Roberts bike round Spa. Between them two,
What's Spa like?
Oh, it is incredible.
Did you do an endurance race there?
I've done a classic endurance race for Classic Suzuki.
You lucky git.
But they had a parade on there as well, and Steve Wheatman had brought Kenny Roberts' 99 bike, my RG. So I had a couple of laps on my RG, but then I jumped on Kenny Roberts' 99 Grand Prix bike, and it was the best thing I've ever done in my life. It was an absolute animal. But I rode it the week before at Cabwell and nearly eye-sided out of Mansfield. It was like, it could have been a proper embarrassing moment,
but you didn't. That's the main thing.
But yeah, between them two, but just because I love the two strokes and them kind of bikes, they're incredible piece of kit.
Do you have any quick fire sort of anything you want to ask?
Oh God! Well, I know he hasn't answered the 600 question around Phillip Island. Put a gum shield in and go for it.
Yeah, what is Phillip? I've never been at Phillip Island. What's it like?
It's really fast. I mean, you got two like tight corners on it, but you just got to line everything. If you mess one part up, the kind of whole lap's messed up. But important things around there is a slipstream, good slipstream, and just trying to hold it wide open.
Looks savage.
Yeah, just trying to hold it wide open, but not necessarily rushing into the corners as well. You know, if you roll it off a little bit just before the corner, just so you can kind of power through it helps a lot with the 600 as well. And just getting the bike slowed down before the corner, so you can crack the throttle as soon as possible.
And I know you mentioned earlier about coaching Max Cook.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know, Max is kind of one of the rising stars in the sport. He's been on the British Talent team. Is it called British Talent team? Yeah, in the Junior World Championship. After he finished second in the British Talent Cup last year to Scott Ogden. So them two are over for the British team. Yeah. And how's he getting on? And are you his coach, or do you just sort of advise him from the side? Or?
I coached him. What year did I coached him the year he won the Standard Championship, and then I think Ogden was maybe a year after him, but he won the Standard Championship, and I coached him for that year, and we got along really good. And then he done the British Talent Cup, and then went to the British Talent team. But this year he done a really good job. Like he was in the top 10. He was in the leading group for a while. Like in 4 or 5 races, he was in the leading group. He got the lap record. He took off Johan Mir at Portimao. And he done a fantastic job. He broke his pelvis at a ref, and we managed to get him back in time for the next round. And the next round he finished 6th or 5th, I think. Yeah. So he done a brilliant job. And it's just unfortunate for me. He could go into GPs, but there's just not been a space. So he's looking like I'm gonna try and get him on a 600 for next year. But there was him, and there was another young lad, Jamie Davis. He races in Spain, and there's a couple of young lads I like to keep an eye out. There's actually a young lad who I met flat tracking, and he's incredible on a flat track bike. And he's got a metric kit now, so I always like to be involved in a young rider, because I like to see how they progress and get on, and
give them something back.
I don't want them to make the mistakes I made in my career, because I was a little bit reckless and things like that, and I just try and advise them away from the mistakes I made.
Is it just
very mature
on that? Is there anything in particular, like is there any sort of big decision you made that looking back you really wish, like in terms of the class that you picked or the team, or is there anything like a pivotal decision that you really wish you'd went the other way?
And don't say our podcast. 2 hours I'm never getting back.
Where it all went wrong is when I realised I was racing with Dom.
Mate, that is a strong argument. That is a strong argument, to be fair. You have stooped low.
I think
on the newcomers bus on Amoy.
I'm just like, look at that handbag.
I think the first time I noticed Dom was when I was walking back through the pits at the TT, and I think we both had a cider in our hand, and he was like...
Not me, can't be me, mate. I don't drink.
Like as you do after the TT, you have people have these flipping recovery drinks, and at the TT you have a pint of cider or a pint of beer. We're walking there, he goes, "Hey up, lad," and he just started talking. I was like, "Who the hell's that?
Who's that Geordie Wanger?"
And that was it. That's just That's my first memory of Dom.
Oh God.
That probably, in all seriousness, probably when I was with Mahindra, I was with them for 2 years. and the money wasn't bad. In all fairness, the money was pretty good, and my manager didn't quite let me know the ins and outs because they wanted me to stay, but they wanted me to sign a multi-year contract, and I didn't really get told the ins and outs of what it was, and then I got offered this other deal for a lot less money, but it seemed to be the better option to get better results.
Were you all hands on, or who helped you with these contract decisions? Was it a family affair, or was it?
I had a manager at the time,
Right.
and I wasn't told what Mahindra's plans were, and then after that year, Suter built the bikes, whereas before it was down to these Italians, and they was just taking the money out of it. To be honest with you, and then then the next, so I turned the Mahindra deal down, but I didn't really know the ins and outs of it, and I got on this other thing, and then the Mahindra was flipping quicker than our bikes. Like, we was on one of the slowest bikes out there, and I was like, oh,
what have I done?
yeah, and then. And then I broke my arm quite badly halfway through the year, and that was the end of that. And then the team got rid of me whilst I was out injured. So that's one of the things I wish I'd changed. I wish I'd probably stayed with Mahindra, but I didn't really know the ins and outs.
Sure.
The other thing I think I would have changed was I wouldn't have had a manager. I'd have managed myself.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. And ever since the day, Colin Edwards always said to me, you don't need a man, unless you're earning millions and millions of pounds, you don't need a manager. And, you know, now I do everything myself, and I know what I've got coming in, what deals I've got, what's going out, this and that, and what I've got to do, you know, and you're not, I'm in control of everything, whereas before I wasn't so much in control of everything, and that way you seem to fall out with less people as well. So I think it's best, you know, you can if you can do it yourself, then it's better to do it that way.
Good advice.
And just from me, I always ask this question: if you were to arrange like a sort of stag, you might actually be arranging a stag do, but if you were going to arrange,
we're not going. Look at that look in his eye.
A theoretical stag do.
Can we come and get stag do?
And you can pick 5 people from the sort of racing community, past or present, so they can be, you know, with us or passed away. Which 5 people would you take, and why?
Bloody hell, that's a hard question.
Well, who's the first person that comes into your mind? Scott Redden.
Yeah, I'll have Scott there. Yeah, Scott will be there. But well, if you want to, I don't know if we'll survive, because I don't want a typical stag do.
Right.
That's the thing. I don't.
What do you want,
I don't want to just go. And
this isn't
what do you
actually
want?
inviting people to your genuine stag do.
No. But this is what I mean. I don't want a typical stag do where you just all go and get pissed. I want to go to Vietnam and just get a couple of like C90s or like little Honda Winds or something and ride through Vietnam. That's what I want to do. I'm not that bothered about getting pissed, but I would like to do that like over 2 weeks and just ride through Vietnam with like a couple of mates, and that would be my ideal state.
All right, then who are your 2 mates? And you said a couple of mates, so go on then.
Well, Scott.
Yep.
My mate, one of my best mates, I've been best mates with him since I've been little, called Luke. He would be there. I suppose you two should come along just for the crack, because it just anyone. We could be like the biker gang of flipping Vietnam.
That would look like the softest gang of riders ever.
Do Vietnam in a grom.
Honestly,
all you lot in your short shorts and going through the middle of Vietnam.
Dom actually does come round to mine on a grom.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh wait, I'm built for the job, son. Built for the job. But there you go.
But yeah, that's what I'd love to do. That's what I think you have to have Gaz Johnson there for the entertainment, wouldn't you?
Oh God, you know.
Mind you, I don't know if we'll be safe in his hands.
I think he's the perfect person for a stag do. Then that's what it's about, getting into trouble. So there we go, man.
I've met some like fantastic over my career. I've met so many fantastic people, and I couldn't have enough people like there. But But yeah, no, there's been some mega people there along the road, and yeah.
Oh well, thanks very much for inviting us down to your home, and your time for doing the podcast. Really appreciate it.
Just let us know when the stag do is.
I will, mate.
Best of luck with.
Well, when we can travel again.
Yeah, that's it. Best of luck with the racing next year with World Supersport, and also best of luck with your sort of family things and getting married and whatever. So all the best, and look forward to catching up sometime soon.
And before you go, what's your Facebook stuff for all our listeners here? Facebook, Instagram, what's it?
No, I'm planning on doing getting some. To be honest with you, I was going to see how I got on this year because I didn't want to like put all merchandise out there and like ride like a tit. You know what I mean?
Very honest, mate. Very honest.
Who's gonna buy it? Who's gonna buy merchandise if someone's finishing at the back? But so I'm planning on getting something sorted. I don't even know what my Facebook page. Danny Webb #99. I think my Facebook page is. I've not got a personal page, and then my Twitter is Danny Webb.
He's working here, people. We are properly going at it. Do you have an Instagram as well, son? Might as well go through them all.
Yeah.
He's just gonna sign us up now.
Danny Webb 99, and then what's my Instagram?
I'm gonna take.
He's texting his wife. He's texting the fiance here. Dear, what's my Instagram?
Danny Webb Racing 99. There you go.
Who would have thought that was out of left hook? There we go. But honestly, thank you so much for being on the show, mate. Doing absolutely cracking. And obviously, thank you to all our. This is how you do it, son. This is how you plug it. Thank you to all our sponsors, patrons, and Colchester Kawasaki.
There you go. I think the next one we should do it at flat tracking.
Definitely.
Yeah, Dom, you get on the.
I'll get me arse.
We've seen your motocross one. We get your flat track one.
Oh yeah, I'm well up for that. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on.
I'll get my bike converted and then I'll give you a call.
Sounds like a good idea. So, but yep, again, thank you very much, mate.
Spot on. Cheers.
Click, buy, deliver with the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki, proud sponsors of Chasin, the Racin.